It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, 7 p.m. I now call this meeting of Planning Commission to order. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Ms. Laser? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Greenberg.
Here.
Laser. Here. Mako.
Here.
Collier.
Here.
Shapaka.
Here.
Suriano.
Here.
Tamarkin.
Here.
Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from September 10th, 2025?
So moved, Tamarkin.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Second, Suriano.
I have a motion by Mr. Tamarkin, a second by Mr. Suriano. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Tamarkin.
Yes.
Suriano.
Yes.
Laser. Yes. Mako.
Yes.
Collier.
Yes.
Shapaka.
Yes.
Greenberg.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we'll move on to swearing in applicants and speakers. Mr. City Attorney, would you please administer the oath of people who are here to speak on an application tonight?
We are now at the public hearing portion of the meeting. The public hearing will operate as follows. Administrative staff will make a presentation or comment on the application. The applicant or their representative may then make a presentation or comment on the application. The applicant has 10 minutes to present. An additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. Public comment will then be open for 3 minutes allowed per speaker. Additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. Speakers must complete a speaker slip and come to the podium and state their name and address. The applicant will then be given 10 minutes to comment. Additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. If there is more than one application pending for a particular address, the presentation on each application may be consolidated and presented as one. At this time, will persons wishing to present testimony this evening please rise and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state I do. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now proceed with Section E of our agenda tonight, applications and public comment. I will read both of the applications we have before us into the record, starting with V-0023-2025, to consider a variance application to vary sections 1107-01D4 and 1107.01G1 citywide design standards, 1109.01A1 parking, access, and circulation, 1109.04C buffers and screening, and 1111.03 permanent sign standards of the codified ordinances of the City of Gahanna for property located at 348 Granville Street, parcel ID 025-014179, current zoning GC General Commercial, Big B Coffee, Steve Fox applicant. And then DP-0007-2025 to consider a development plan application for property located at 348 Granville Street, parcel ID 025-014179, current zoning GC General Commercial, Big B Coffee, Steve Fox applicant. We will now turn the meeting over to the administration to give a presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Michael Blackford, Director of Planning, presenting before you tonight. On the screen right now, we have the location and zoning map of tonight's items. Like you stated, Madam Chair, it's Big B Coffee. Right here in the yellow star here, that's the site in question. It's a very small site. It's 0.3 acres. It's located within the general commercial zoning classification. General commercial zoning there in red, you can see it along Hamilton Road in Granville. That is our more intense of our two commercial zonings. It's located in areas with, where we would expect to see high traffic volumes, and that's why we have uses such as retail, restaurants with drive-throughs. Those are allowed uses. I believe at our last meeting or a couple meetings ago, we had a property just down the street from here at the Northwest Bank, at the old PNC Bank. It's just here with where the red dot is on your screen, located just to the west. That particular request was somewhat similar in that it was a commercial use with a drive-through, but they actually needed a conditional use for the drive-through because it's located in a different zoning designation, Creekside Mixed Use. So here's another property being developed on Granville Street. Lots of different zonings, a lot of different uses in the area. Just to the east of this site is the Dairy Queen. Just to the west of this site is the library. To the north of this site, and it really functions as one site with one ownership, is a multifamily. On your screen, it's designated as R4 brown here. So there are some variances because of the small size of the property. Really, essentially, any development will require variances. Staff is going to be of the opinion that, again, because the ownership's the same and the site has historically worked, as one site with different uses, and again, the variances are going to be minimal at most. Here is a image of, I believe this is 2024, just last year, right before the building was demoed. So there used to be a two-story office building, and now it's just a cleared site. There is quite a bit of history on this property already. All of it, thankfully, I would say, is that it was all working towards this particular use with the coffee shop. So in 2022, the property was rezoned from office to commercial. A community commercial was the zoning at that particular time. That was before a zoning code was rewritten in 2024. Again, the intended use at that time was going to be a coffee shop with drive-through. Last year, there was a subdivision without plat, so a lot split application. With that, there were variances necessary. We often see that with lot splits because it kind of creates a paper issue with zoning as far as setbacks, lot coverage, things of that nature. And then, again, the zoning code was changed. It was essentially the same kind of uses, same kind of development standards for this particular site, but it just, again, adds to a little bit of the history on the site. So again, there's a major development plan and a variance. Again, there used to be an office building on site. Multifamily is to the rear. Again, that's all under the same ownership. Very small building, very modestly sized. Has to be in order to make this site viable for commercial, as it's, again, only 0.3 acres, which is really almost a standard residential size lot. So again, if we want to see this property develop, we're going to have to be variances necessary. So 445 square feet building. There is a walk-up window, but the vast majority of customers are going to be through the drive-through. It's a prefab building. I believe there's a Big Coffee on North Hamilton, just outside of Gahanna and Meyer, I believe. So you may have seen that. I believe it's a fairly standard with Bigby as what their design is. 5 parking spaces are required. 8 are provided on site, which is appreciated because, again, it's a very tight site. Walking through the site plan here, there's a few items here that Maddie had highlighted that she wanted us to take a look at. Not highlighted here is the actual drive-through, and this did go through a lot of review with our engineering department. It did require a little bit of a site redesign, which may have led to an additional variance or two. The applicant, if I recall, originally intended for the building to be located more towards Granville Street, but again, there were some concerns with engineering about the stacking and circulation of cars in this area. So the applicant was, we do appreciate them working with staff. That did cause a bit of a delay, but the city believes that the design is better and more suited for that area. I don't know, like Wednesday nights, leaving planning commission in the summertime, I know the drive-through at Dairy Queen sometimes backs up and actually blocks that particular lane. So being that that's an existing condition, I know our engineering team and our police folks were concerned about creating an additional traffic stacking situation. So again, this particular site plan alleviates that concern with engineering, or we wouldn't be here this evening. So in red, right there, that is the building. Again, it's under 500 square feet, set back from the road in order to accommodate the drive-through lane and that pass-through lane. There in yellow, that is the parking. There are variances for that because it's right on the property line. And Granville Street does have an existing pedestrian facility. As you can see right here, the sidewalk, but there is a new sidewalk leading up to that walk-up window. Landscape plan on the screen right here. There are areas in green where new landscaping is being provided. 9 trees, only 4 required, so it is twice as many as required. We have right here on the left-hand side of the screen, that is screening for their parking area. That meets code. Again, some of the trees being planted along the property line or in vicinity of the property line on the east side of the property. And then there's additional plantings to screen some of the mechanical equipment. Here's renderings of the building, the proposed building. Did look up some of their architecture, and I believe that this is appreciate them adding some architectural elements, the wood grain and the masonry base there. That's not on all their buildings. They did add that here in Gahanna. There's 4 criteria to consider when looking at a major development plan. Does the development meet applicable development standards of the zoning ordinance? So items don't come before you until it completes. It doesn't come before Planning Commission until it completes a review of all of our different departments and such. So this particular request does meet all of our applicable standards of the zoning code and other ordinances, with the exception of the variances, which we'll cover here in a moment. Is it in accord with the appropriate plans for the area? Our land use plan does designate this area as mixed use. This is the area where we intend to see high traffic generating uses. So staff is definitely of the opinion this is in accord with our plans. Would it have undesirable effects on the area? The variances, if granted, staff does not believe would create any undesirable effects, as there's some existing conditions of the site and similar characteristics like I mentioned with the Dairy Queen on the adjacent site and that. So approval of this would be in accord with the other properties in the area. I believe there's 5 variances to cover. And again, in 2024, there were variances granted as well. So this is the second variance request. So there was already variances granted for some of the setbacks, I believe on the side and rear property and for lot coverage. But this particular request, metal siding is a prohibited material. We do have folks asking relief from this. I think one of the important things when we're looking at variances is scale of the project is important, or is at least a factor of consideration. This is not a new 7-story building or a large, showcase piece in the Crescent. This is a small 450 square foot building and that. And so staff does not have any issues with the metal as the primary material. Again, they've added some accents to it with the wood grain and such. Ground floor is also required to have architectural elements, transparent glass. Since it's a prefab building, they're not really able to meet that. Just under 6%, and their code requires 25% to be glass. Parking cannot extend past the front elevation of the primary building. As you saw, the site is very tight, and this variance would not be necessary if the applicant wasn't accommodating of staff's request to revise their site layout to have a more functional drive-through. So changing the drive-through location pushes the building back, it adds parking there, so that's necessitating the variance. 2 more variances, buffering and screening, signage, 10-foot wide buffer, 6-foot high continuous screen between commercial and residential uses. The residential uses in this case are to the rear of the site, and that's under the same ownership. And it's really an existing condition that for decades has had commercial development there without the buffering and screening. Adding buffering and screening doesn't really seem to make a positive impact like we would see in other areas. So again, staff wouldn't have any concerns with that particular variance. And then the last variance is the signage, and it's a very minor variance. Let me see if I can find something here. And the variance is necessary because they would like to have 2 wall signs, and you're allowed 1 wall sign per frontage. Granville Street is obviously a frontage, but as listed here on this site plan that says Rocky Creek Drive, that is not technically a road. It is just part of the residential property. So it functions like a road, it looks like a road, but it's not technically a road. So that's why they need the variance for the additional sign. With that, if granting the variance, they did not request a variance to the overall size of signs, which I believe is 50 square feet. So between the 2 signs, it'll still be very modestly sized at 50 square feet or less total between the 2 signs. Variance criteria, I'll try not to bore you with all these. Just a couple of them. The first one, would it result in substantial damage to the essential character of the area? Again, this site has historically been developed with non-residential uses, commercial uses. It's essentially 100% paved. They're adding trees and such. So staff does not believe granting any of these variants would substantially alter the character of the area. The other one I'll talk about is the adversely affecting delivery of government services. That's related to some of the discussion that our police and such were having about the stacking of the drive-through lane. So again, they worked that out. Staff does not believe, like I said, police and engineering have signed off. Their staff does not believe that there's any issues that would affect governmental services. Staff, we recommend approval of the development plan. Again, it's consistent with the zoning and the land use plan. It's consistent with what we've been doing moving forward since the rezoning in 2022 and the previous lot split and variances. So this is actually very much in line with everything that's been working forward, that we've been working towards. So again, we fully support this. We fully support all 5 variances as well. Again, you know, this is a different area of town than say where we were a few weeks ago, where it was a little bit to the west, where we're getting in the creek side, where there's no more design standards. We're talking about a 0.3 acre site. Anytime you're developing a small parcel, it's going to be challenging. So your options are probably going to be either grant a use and development with variances or let it just sit vacant until somebody absorbs it, and that could be 10 decades until that happens. So staff would be fully supportive of all the variances and this request. And with that, I've talked too long. I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair. Thank you. I just missed you all.
Thank you very much. We will now open public comment. Would the applicant like to comment? Can you come up to the podium, please? Good evening. Could you state your name, address, and relationship to the project, please?
I'm Lou Bose. I am with Prime AE. My address for myself.
Your business address is fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're at Polaris Parkway, so we're up north there. So anyway, Steve Fox is not here, and I'm coming up here in his place.
Are you able to speak a little bit louder into the microphone, just so we can all hear you up here?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Just want to be able to
This is
hear
the
you.
first time I've been to one of these, so you know.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, I think that was a great presentation you had. We worked really hard on this project, trying to get a lot of the stacking and the discharge and get the motion through the site. And, you know, because it, like you said, that the side road is really not a road, it's just an access drive for the commercial areas in the rear. And that's why we have the parking that kind of joins that. Right there in yellow, yes. And that's why we don't have the setback, because it's actually, that road is really wide and it accommodates a lot of the traffic in and out. And we also created enough to stack to the stop sign to get in and out of that. But I think your presentation was awesome. I think you pretty much explained everything that I could even say about this job or this project. And I think it's, this is about as good as we can get to get as much stacking and get as much stacking in the site and then out of the site as well. That's really what I have to say. Is there any questions?
Yes, we will have questions, so don't go too far. But before that, I wanted to know if anyone else from the public would like to comment? Okay. Seeing none, we will close public comment, and we will turn to questions from the commission, and we will start on my left. Mr. Shapaka, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Blackford, can you show up on the screen the difference between the two signs? It seems like the one off of Johnstown's pretty evident. Where's the second sign?
You know what? It might be on an elevation and not the rendering, which I think I have. Yep. Sorry.
So it's on the wall for the canopy. It's pretty small. Okay. Thank you. So another quick question on the fence. The existing fence to the north of the property, is there a fence planned to separate your lot from the Dairy Queen lot, or is that just landscaping for separation? You know, if I had that right, is that blue? Did you say
Blue, yes. Blue.
Is there a fence
There
there?
there was what, an existing fence along the rear of the site, correct? By
Just the
trash
rear of the site.
enclosure? But
So
that's,
nothing between there and Dairy Queen, basically?
no. There's a slope there. That slope, I think we have it at a 3-to-1 or something, I believe. There was a slope there. So if we did put some, that's I think why we put the landscaping along there to get some block, but I think the Dairy Queen's a lot higher, and then it slopes down to the site.
Right.
So the slope itself is pretty much creating a barrier. Now then, a fence at the top of the hill, that's where the landscaping is, so.
Another question is the shop up there off of North Hamilton for branding, why your selection of materials for here? It seems to be different. It looks like you had an EFS system up there off of North Hamilton. What prompted this design?
I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why they chose that material. That would be in the architectural. I
you
work in
have
the
a-
civil department.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
We're the Big B franchisees.
Would you like to speak
Yeah.
to answer the question? Okay. Before you do, can you just state your name, address, and relationship to the project, please?
My name's Alan Balin. I actually have a Columbus address and a Michigan address. My Michigan 599 Lexi Lane, Bay City, Michigan. My Columbus address is in Upper Arlington. We're the Big B franchisees. We're the area representatives for 10 counties from Columbus all the way to Athens. Been in the food business and fast food business for 35 years. The reason just aesthetically to make it fit more within the area. The one over on Hamilton is the standard design that is built on this building, which is just more of a drive-it type material. And we thought this was more aesthetically appealing to the area when we looked at what's around. We have just placed a building up in Westerville, and in there we used more of the face brick on that. So we try to do our buildings from an exterior design point of view, just make it look more aesthetically approval in the communities.
Good. So since you're franchisees, is this a 24-hour operation?
No.
24/7?
No.
No?
We're open 9 a.m., or 9 p.m. is when we close. We open at, depends on the areas, but anywhere from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
All right, thank you. Madam Chair, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Move on to Mr. Mako.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's start off with questions for Mr. Blackford. I think you covered this adequately in your wonderful presentation, but just to reiterate some things. So under the current zoning, this is a permitted use,
Yes, sir.
and it does fit within the land use plan.
Correct. Yes, sir.
And would it be fair to characterize the use similar to the Dairy Queen, which is located east of the site?
Yes, absolutely. From a zoning code standpoint, they're really one and the same. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you also, I think, answer this question, but the Rocky Creek Drive is not public right-of-way. It's going to be considered a private drive.
Correct. It's just considered a private drive, so that limits it helps them as far as like a frontage and setbacks, but hurts them with signage, yes.
Right. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but the parking at the current parking at the Dairy Queen, there is parking in the front of that building. Is that, do I understand that correctly or remember that correctly?
You might be right.
First time for everything.
I don't have,
It's like on the side.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's on the
Is
side.
it on the side?
There's some in the front, but it's angled east-west.
it's like on the side.
But one spot comes all the way to the sidewalk per.
I had this
Google
pulled up
Earth.
until like an hour ago, and I deleted it. I have no idea why. Regret.
There's also a big tree blocking the front.
Correct.
Actually, there's a spot here. There's a spot on the right too, on the east
Oh,
side.
yeah, there is some. Yeah, it looks like there's some, sorry, I'm not that familiar with the plan, but
There it is.
yeah. Yeah, we have some just off to the side here. So again, and I apologize for not bringing this up when talking about the existing conditions on Granville, but you are correct, sir, where there is existing conditions that include parking to the front of the building.
Okay. And I guess the reason for that question, clarification, just as it relates to the variance, that if we do grant that variance, we're not creating something that's not already there. I guess that's what I'm trying to
Yes,
get here.
absolutely.
Okay. Some questions for the applicant. Would it be a correct statement that this particular development is a little bit different from what you've done in your existing stores in Central Ohio? In terms of where it's placed at, location-wise?
Yes and no. I mean, most of the ones right now in central Ohio are in Myers outlots. So we've done a lot of them in outlots. We do have a lot of locations where we've gone on smaller I mean, obviously, that's why this building works, is because we can go into smaller locations than most people can. And we have lots that are smaller than this, and we have, obviously, when we go in outlots that are quite a bit larger. One of the reasons with the smaller one is dumping out on the side. We didn't design it to dump the traffic out into the main road.
Right. Okay. And then I did not see a lighting plan. Is there a lighting plan associated with anything in the application materials? Or looking on Street View, I saw that looks like there is some existing lighting on this lot. I was just wondering if that was ever taken into consideration.
I believe that's a great question, and I believe that because it's 8 parking spaces, and I believe the code says if it's 10 or less, they don't have to provide that level of detail in that. So that's why it's absent from this particular request.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And then looking at the application, I believe it's stated in there that the escape lane there that's on the outside, that's going to cross the property line. How does that work? If you're going to be putting traffic on essentially a different property, is it because it's the same owner, or is there some type of access agreement?
Well, I mean, it is the same owner, so, basically the access lane is for people who want to decide to get in line and don't want to stay, and they have access to be able to get out. But yes, my understanding is based on the same ownership that they granted us access to be able to put that lane going around the back.
Okay, fair enough. And then,
Which originally, I think it was going to be on our property, but when we had to move it back to try to get more space on the side, that was kind of a concession we made with the landlord.
okay. And again, reason for the question, just that we're not creating some type of conflict between property owners because you're essentially going on off property. And then getting back to the site plan, so are you also, just so I'm interpreting this correctly, they're going to be redundant sidewalks because I see there's an existing one and then you're proposing one a little bit further to the north. Is that a correct interpretation?
There's the existing across the front. The one we're proposing is that they can walk, if you're walking by and you wanted to walk up and get a cup of coffee, you would have access in that sidewalk. In the front, there will only be one sidewalk across the front, across the entire, I mean, parallel to the road.
Okay.
I guess I'm not,
Well, you're, on the site plan, I said the existing sidewalk, and then there's a proposed sidewalk that's running parallel to the existing. Right there.
I believe that when we set up the second sidewalk, right here was up along the right of way, because, I mean, I think we had to be within 1 foot of the right of way, and I think it was for a right of way tape, for the widening of that road in the future. I think that's where that sidewalk came from. The existing one's down here. And see, then we had this one up here, and that was requested, to put the second sidewalk within the 1 foot of the right of way to be compliant.
Okay. Well, again, I guess it just kind of popped out to me because it looks redundant, but as long as you're connecting in with the existing, I think that's fine.
I think we were talking about widening this road.
yeah, because I think they're
Yep.
putting decel lanes, or there's some talk down the road of widening.
That was my understanding, yeah, that we're gonna look at widening this road, and so they wanted to place the sidewalk within 1 foot of the right of way. So we went ahead and placed that sidewalk, and then we tied into the existing sidewalk in the interim. And then once that sidewalk that's up against the roadway goes away, then we would be compliant with our sidewalk.
Okay. And then final question is maybe if you could pull up the street view sign, the existing sign that's there between the site and the Dairy Queen. Does that stay or go? Right there.
Isn't that for the plaza behind?
Yeah, there's a sign, that sign actually sits right on the property line, or just barely on our property, I believe. And we accommodated that sign to stay. You know, we didn't, it's within our green space through the radius turn. That's a pole. Where's the telephone pole? You got that one? Yeah, I think it's right here. The green space.
So I'm Matt Von Bargen with Rocky Fork Capital. Our address is actually 60 Rocky Creek Drive, right behind this site. So we own the apartments and we own this site as well. That sign is a legacy sign from the office building that you see there. When we demoed the building, we left that in the event that they wanted to use that sign as an existing condition, but given they don't need that, we would have no issues taking that down because all of the businesses that are listed there are no longer operating on that site.
Okay. Again, I was just wondering, again, what the disposition of that's going to be.
Yeah, no, it's not needed anymore, so it can go away.
Okay.
And just to answer your previous question on the circulation lane going through the property lines, it's truly just a line on the map. There's asphalt there already. It wouldn't produce any issues for the apartment building behind it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Soriano?
Mr. Bako asked a lot of my questions. I'm assuming it's the same response to the lane crossing the property line as well. The dumpster does as well, so I'm assuming it's the same situation. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Laser?
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. What, in general, for your business are your busiest times in the morning? Just in general?
Obviously, as a coffee shop, morning rush, heading out, which we feel, as the morning, if you look at the traffic on the road, morning drive is heading towards 270, so we feel the right-hand turnout is going to be easier access, but generally speaking, it's morning. We're not a heavy lunch business, obviously. We're breakfast sandwiches and coffee.
You may be busy for lunch since you're right here at the high school.
Well, that's true.
I was concerned because of the preschool. There's a lot of traffic and buses there at 8:45, and then the high school has thousands of kids, hundreds of kids, and all the drivers in addition to the rush hour. And so I'm looking at the plans. I know the Rocky Creek Drive area in the yellow is wide. But for people, if people do try to turn left out of there, if kids stop in to get coffee as they're driving to park, is that lane wide enough for 3, like for 2 exits? Or will the right hand, I just was trying to look at how many cars could fit if you have one car trying to turn left out of there and then all the other cars start to stack. I was just...
Part of why we moved it back was to create the bigger stack in there as they come out. And I mean, essentially, I think we're at a pretty good stack from the road back to our exit. I mean, we pushed it back quite far on the lot.
Okay. Yeah, the same idea, the Dairy Queen in the summer evenings where it comes out into the street. This would be Monday through Friday for the whole school year. It's just, with that many drivers being in that area. And I had one other question. The store that you've just opened up on North Hamilton has like a little outdoor seating area. I didn't know if this one was gonna have.
There was no
Nothing in
plan.
the-
I don't know if we have the space on here to be able to
Okay.
do something. Usually what it is just put out a picnic table or, an umbrella table type thing. If it did, it would probably be in that little green space, just the right part of that blue, as I'm looking at it, the right part of the
Okay.
blue thing. But there's no plans in the drawing to do that.
Okay, and then I have one other question about the residents that live behind in the apartment complex. This will be a lot more traffic and noise, I'm guessing, than the original office building. And there's no additional buffer between the coffee shop and their buildings? I just didn't know if there was any.
So I guess the fortunate circumstance here is the apartment immediately behind here is the leasing office for the property, so there's no residents in it. And then from a noise perspective, I can't speak to it, to be honest with you, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I don't have any other questions.
And Mr. Greenberg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my first question is for Mr. Roth. Wake him up over there. Does the city need a letter or legal document that shows that they're going to be going across property lines even though it's the same owner, from the owner saying it's okay?
I don't think we need it. When I looked at this earlier, I was figuring they would have some kind of easement that they would grant to the front property to drive on their property, but it's, being that it's the same owner, it's kind of amongst them. It's nothing that we would need.
Okay, thank you. Question for, I guess, the applicant regarding the dumpster. It's going to be enclosed? Because I went past the Big B at the Meyer on Morris Road. There is no dumpster. So what's the plan for the dumpster, and what kind of enclosure, if any, are you going to have there?
Yeah, the dumpster, any dumpster that's, in the Myers, we use their dumpsters, okay?
Okay.
So we have carts that will take it back to those. In this location and in the fast food restaurants that I own, we enclose them usually to be similar to what's on the building, whether it's fencing, like a brown type fencing or something like that to enclose the dumpster.
But there will be a gate.
Yes. Because there has, have to.
Others won't be able to get in to use it other than your staff. Okay. Thank you for that. Question about the fence in the back. You're asking for a variance, I guess. How tall is the fence in the back right now? It's supposed to be 6 foot, I think. It is 6 foot? Okay. But there's not going to be any landscaping there.
No, because pushing it back, it's pushed us out, pretty far to be able to do anything back there besides the fence.
Okay. Just a couple other questions. Expectation, you're going to have a lot of walk-up traffic with the students, either before or after school, right? So they're going to be walking up that sidewalk, lining up, as well as cars coming through at the same time to order.
Well, as we talk about in the morning drive is obviously we're working for coffee. Most coffee shops in the afternoon and stuff like that are not that busy. Obviously, the school will create with some of the slushies and things like that, the blast and stuff like that we have, and some coffee type stuff. And, we see that everywhere. We're anywhere near a high school, you get a large influence. We are not a large lunchtime business. I have Jersey Mike's and Rally's, Checkers, and Qdoba, which we are at large lunch. This is very early morning, 6 to 8 a.m., and then little steady traffic throughout the day. I drove by the one today on 23, and there was one, it was about 2 o'clock, and there's 2 cars in line. That's generally kind of the traffic pattern for that. Our big time is daytime, and believe it or not, in the coffee business, Saturday is a very big day for us also.
So in the mornings, how many employees are in the building? Just one or two?
Well, we could have 2 baristas working the cappuccino machines. We have somebody who'll be doing some of the slushies and the morning drinks, and then we have a cashier, and then usually one or, depending on how big the breakfast is with the, we call them bagels.
Yeah.
How big it is with the bagels and stuff, we could have as many as 2 people. So 6, 7 maximum.
Working at the same time in that tiny building. Great. I guess I had a question about the sidewalk, which I think was answered. So I think that concludes my questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Mr. Tamarkin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Blackford, remind me why we split this lot. Did we split it from the apartments?
Correct. It was a request by the property owner. But yes, it was
To
split
split.
from the apartments. Yes, sir.
To do a separate plat,
Correct.
which left us with this third of an acre.
Yes,
hard
and
to
that was
develop.
the intent in 2022 with the rezoning, and then the lot split and the variances 2024 was anticipation of tonight.
For the applicant, you're requesting 2 wall signs. Is there a menu board?
There is a menu board. It's around and we kind of pushed it because of pushing the building back. Normally, it would be towards the end of the building, kind of in line with the drive-through lane. This one's around the back, kind of facing the dumpster area.
So, Mr. Blackford, how does a menu board impact the sign?
It does not. Menu boards are exempt from sign code regulations. That was part of the 2024 zoning code update. So menu boards, especially specifically for our restaurants and such. So they don't count as signage like they used to in the old days.
Prior to the rewrite?
Yes, prior to the rewrite,
We
yes,
saw a
sir.
lot of menu boards.
Yeah, we saw a lot of variances for menu boards and such, for things that, and so the zoning code specifically says that these are exempt, and then it goes into further detail about similar signage when it's geared for, it's sized appropriately for people already on site. It no longer is signage that requires permitting and such. So this would qualify under both of those.
Regardless of how large, regardless of how lit.
Well, again, it's got to be, yep, on site and that. So yes, this is, so one of those, it's menu boards are exempt, yes.
Okay. And a quick question about the fence, my last question. The fence is existing, correct?
Yes.
And is it right up against the apartments? So again, putting this lane into, let's call it the apartment, plat or land, doesn't impact the fence. The fence is still to the north of,
There's probably 4 or 5 feet of grass from the fence where you get to the asphalt.
okay. That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I just have a few questions, too. My understanding is that this is just a walk-up only, like you can't go inside.
Correct.
Okay, that's how all of the locations are? It's all walk-up, drive-through?
Yes and no. I mean, Bigby, obviously, if we took over an existing space that has seating, we do have some that have inside seating, similar to Starbucks or some of those. But, you know, really the concept, especially nowadays with the small modular, is basically no inside seating whatsoever.
Okay. And you said your hours you're open till 9 o'clock?
Yes.
And that coincides with the Dairy Queen closing time, too? Is that correct? Do you know?
I don't know what time if that's, I would think they're open a little later with the ice cream.
For some reason, I'm thinking they close at 9, but I really don't recall. I don't,
Yeah, I
either,
don't know what they're.
maybe, yeah, I do believe it's 9, but I was just curious if your hours coincided as far as,
No, that's.
obviously, the morning hours don't, but,
Right.
the
That's
closing
real
time.
similar, you know, for the coffee business,
yeah,
you know, Bigby corporate right now requires 9. We can petition to close earlier. I can't say it would hurt my feelings to close earlier. You know, I've also been in the rallies and checkers business. We're open till 2, 3 in the morning, and I prefer my Jersey Mike's close at 9, and that's really nice.
I'm sure. My other question is the barrier between this lot, this parcel, and the Dairy Queen parcel. I'm trying to think in my mind, and I'm not picturing it for some reason. Is there any kind of, is it just grass, or what's the barrier between the two buildings? Okay, so you can just drive, if somebody wanted to, they could just drive from Dairy Queen to.
No, it's slope, and there's a little curve of asphalt.
Okay, that's what I was, okay, I just couldn't picture it in my mind, thank you for that. And then my final question is, I also have questions about access, because of the encroachments, as far as easements, has that been something that's been discussed with the property owner?
For Dairy Queen or?
No, for this property, these encroachments onto the adjacent property, has that been discussed with you?
Yes, so we own both the apartments
Right.
and this site. So, yeah, we're well aware.
Right, but is that something that's going to be occurring?
I guess,
Will there be an easement, I guess is my question.
so there is an easement right now that is recorded for the driveway. We felt it important to retain ownership of Rocky Creek Drive with the apartment complex for access. You know, given we own both, we thought we would take that opportunity in the event that ownership in the future was different. The apartments always control that, so there is an easement agreement for this site for Rocky Creek Drive.
But not for the encroachments?
No, not for behind, but practically speaking, there's no use for the apartments on that little portion of land because the apartments are probably 3 or 4 feet downgrade from where this site is, so.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions that I have. Does anyone else have any additional questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One point of order, I just looked it up. They close at 9:30.
Oh,
Dairy
okay.
Queen.
Thank you.
My
for the
question
clarification.
is, I guess, maybe to Mr. Blackford, when the landscaping is planned out, and there was a requirement to put 3 trees in the front of the building, was there consideration to the view when you look left, is when you're leaving the property, that would block the view? Is that taken into consideration?
That review is done by a different department, and they've signed off, so,
Okay,
and,
must be good then.
yeah, so that's all I can say is yes, is that it's been looked at.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Any additional, Mr.
Madam
Baker?
Chair? Yep, 2 quick additional questions. Seeing that the site is kind of on a grade. It slopes down to the west towards going towards the creek there. Is the intent to level that out before the building's built?
Between the Dairy Queen and this development.
No, I'm just talking about the building pad, for lack of a better term.
Building pad itself, well, the existing building that was there, actually was the pavement that was between the building and the Dairy Queen was higher because you had to step down into that building. Now, since we have the new building footprint, it's level, so it actually came down lower, which created a little bit more of a slope. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, because.
There's more of a slope now than there was before.
Right, and I guess the question is going to be that when you get this building put up, it's essentially, it'll be leveled out. Okay. And then, let's hope so.
Yeah, well, however we do the footers or foundation, we'll make it level. If we have to raise up, the front, maybe a more slope, or maybe the bypass lane, but it'll be level.
And then, final question, getting back to the sidewalk that'll go north and south. Where it intersects the drive lane, that'll be striped, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we proceed, asking for a motion to approve the variances, is everybody okay if we consider all of these variances together, or does anybody want to separate these on the commission? Together, okay. All right. So then, do we have a motion to approve V-0023-2025?
Madam Chair, I make a motion for approval of V-0023-2025, 5 different variances for 348 Granville Street.
Is there a second?
Second, Chipaka.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Tamarkin, seconded by Mr. Chipaka. Is there any discussion on the motion? Start, Mr. Chipaka on my left. Mr. Mako?
I'm going to be in support of approving the variances. I think they are relatively minor in nature. I think, given the inherent, I don't want to say difficulties of the site, but it is a smaller parcel. And kind of as I alluded to in my questions, again, just from my knowledge of the other Big B locations here in Central Ohio, this is a little bit different creature. So to make it work, I get that we had to have these variances. But again, I think they're minor in nature, and I think that the final product is going to look nice. So I'm going to be in support. Thank you.
Mr. Soriano?
I am also going to be in support of the application and the variances. Mr. Mako noted they're relatively minor in nature. I think if we had to master plan this again, this site would probably look different. I think the 0.3 acres is pretty difficult to manage, especially on one of our major thoroughfares. So I think this application is, what I would expect in a property that size. So I'll be in support.
Ms. Laser?
I would be in support.
Mr. Greenberg?
I will also be in support, and just like to say that we're at the starting gate on Granville Street development. We've moved out from the Clark Hall, the library. Now we're doing the coffee shop, and we did the bank across the street. So things are starting to happen on Granville Street. We need to be very careful as we develop this, as we move down. It's an important street, and I will be in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tamarkin?
No comments?
And I also don't have any comments. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Tamarkin,
Yes.
Chipaka,
Yes.
Mako,
Yes.
Pollyea,
Yes.
Soriano,
Yes.
Greenberg,
Yes.
Laser.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We will move on to approve the, we will move on for a motion to approve the development plan application. Does the administration have any additional comments? Okay. And would the applicant like to comment further on the development plan application? Any further? Okay. And I'll go ahead and close public comment as to that. Are there any questions on the development plan from the commission? Start with Mr. Chapaka.
No comment.
Mr. Mako?
The only comment is I'll be in support of this, and again, I specifically asked the question whether or not this thing is a permitted use, and it is, and it fits within the land use plan, so again, I am in support of it. Thank you.
Mr. Soriano?
No comment.
Ms. Laser?
No comment.
Mr. Greenberg?
No comment.
And Mr. Tomarkin?
No comment.
Okay. Then do we have a motion to approve DP-0007-2025?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval to consider a development plan application DP 0007-2025 for property located at 348 Granville Street.
Is there a second?
Second, Tomarkin.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Greenberg, seconded by Mr. Tomarkin. Is there any additional discussion on this motion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Greenberg.
Yes.
Tomarkin.
Yes.
Laser.
Yes.
Mako.
Yes.
Pollyea.
Yes.
Chapaka.
Yes.
Soriano.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on in our agenda to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business tonight?
We do not.
Okay, any new business? Okay, and then I will move on to our official report, starting with the Assistant City Attorney.
Nothing to report at this time.
Mr. Blackford, Director of Planning.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, myself as council liaison, my only comment tonight is that things are also heating up at Creekside, and I encourage anyone who has not yet either appeared at the Committee of the Whole meeting this past Monday or watched it on YouTube to do so. Mr. Gottke gave, I would say, almost a 2-hour presentation on some interesting developments that are happening over at Creekside, and I encourage everybody to watch that because I am pretty sure that a lot of that is going to come back on us. So just get familiar, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. And that concludes my report. The mayor's not here tonight. I also don't have any additional action to report as chair. So we'll move on. Is there any correspondence and actions to consider?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then I will go through and ask if anyone on the commission has any comments, starting with Mr. Chapaka.
No comments.
Mr. Mako?
No comment.
Okay, Mr. Soriano?
No comments?
Ms. Laser?
No comment.
Mr. Greenberg?
No comment.
Mr. Tomarkin?
I do have a comment.
Please.
I watched the council meeting on Monday. I was aware of what was happening. It's going to be very interesting. There was a proposal for development on both sides of the street for residential, a hotel, restaurants, and as our chairwoman said, I think at some point we're going to see lots of activity on this Creekside development as it progresses through the city approvals and the city's planning. So pretty exciting stuff. There's already a lot of chatter about it on the social media accounts. And also, I will be absent at the next meeting.
Okay.
I will be out of town,
As will I.
I think there's a few of us.
I will be as well.
Okay.
3 of us.
3 people will be absent at the next meeting. Thank you for sharing that. And I do not have any additional comments either. So I will move to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Soriano, and Mr. Chapaka too. There were 2 at the same time, so I don't know who made it. One of the 2. So we are adjourned. Thank you very much.